Okay, you should be looking at the back side of your vocabulary sheet, at the side that has impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, and then certain. Okay, let's talk about what these mean, because in probability, it's kind of hard to find these when you look them up in the dictionary that you were doing the other vocabularies on. So let's take a look at each one, see what they mean, and then you can finish this sheet. Okay, so the first one, here's a picture of Albert Einstein. What's the likelihood of meeting Albert Einstein today? It's impossible, because he has passed on. He is no longer with us, and you can't really count a ghost. So if you say, well, I might be able to meet the ghost of Albert Einstein, that's still not Albert Einstein, doesn't count, so the chances of meeting him are impossible. As you move on, what's the probability or the likelihood of winning the lottery? Well, it's pretty unlikely. It happens once in a while, and you may even know someone who has won a lottery, but it happens very rarely, so it's fairly unlikely that someone will win the lottery. Could happen, probably won't. Okay, flipping a coin is a great example of as likely as not. It's a 50-50 chance. It might land on heads, it might land on tails, but the chances of heads or tails are equally the same. So when you hear someone say as likely as not, that's pretty much a 50-50 chance, an even split. Likely. Okay, likely is something that probably will happen. It might not, but it probably will, like rain in spring. There's a good chance it's going to rain in spring, so we would call the likelihood of rain in spring likely, because it probably will. And then finally, certain. The eggs that you get in a grocery store certainly come from a chicken. All right, unless it's marked otherwise, but when you go to the grocery store, you buy a dozen eggs, somewhere in the world, a chicken has laid that egg. So when something is 100% certain that it's going to happen, there's no doubt about the fact that it's going to happen, it will happen, it's certain, okay? And the other thing you have to remember is that the likelihood of two things, or the events of one thing, will always be between 0 and 1. 0 is impossible, 50% or 0.5 is as likely as not, and certain is 1 or 100%. Now, the event of something, or the likelihood of something happening and not happening will always equal 1. So think about this. You watch the news that night, and the weatherman says that there's a 30% chance of rain. Well, that means that there's a 70% chance that it won't rain. So 0.3 chance that it will rain, unlikely. 0.7 chance that it won't rain, likely. And if you add 0.3 plus 0.7, you get 1. There's a 100% chance that something will happen weather-wise. And that's how you figure the likelihood of an event.